Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Nicole, hi, Nicole, welcome. Welcome on this English live stream. Welcome. Hello, everyone, dear friends. So, good evening, everyone. Another English live stream. And hope you're doing well, everyone. Welcome. Hey, Yvonne, welcome. I grabbed my tea. Hello, everyone. Hi, Lily. And if I'm right, then I'm also live on my fully English YouTube channel. Hello. Hello, Anya. Welcome as well on YouTube. So, 2 YouTube channels are now streaming. And if I'm right, also on TV. Oh yeah, on Twitch. Welcome everyone on Twitch. So grabbed my tea and okay. Music is low. Yes, music is done as well. Yeah, I put the music low because it was close to the end tune, so to the closure tune. Well, everyone, again, welcome. I have Trovo here as well. Also, welcome everyone on Trovo and also for everyone who recently followed me. Thank you so much. And I think Trovo is a wonderful, wonderful channel. Yeah, also from other countries than only the Netherlands. I am streaming from the Netherlands. And here in the Netherlands, it is early evening. So, but it is so nice. That is the nice thing about streaming. That's yeah, it's you can watch it from everywhere. So, if you know, of course, the right time schedule. Hello, 1, 2, Marcel, 1, 2, Marcel, welcome. I don't see the chat on screen. Oh, I do. Okay, it started. Yeah, everything runs a bit slower because I put, when you go to Twitch, you get the warning that you're entering a live stream with now and then graphic warning. And rules have changed, more strict for the TOS. So then I warn the people that it could be graphic. So that's better, I guess. So that is why you have to have to click on that warning that you're aware of that it is for audience, certain audience. Well, hello. I stumble over the LLLL of what I'm saying. Well, for this evening here for the Netherlands, this evening in this live stream, I plan on talking more extendedly about my near-death experiences. And uh, now my tea, I spill some tea, but yeah. And I'm very curious how that will roll out. Well, you see next to me flowers, and also on the keyboard. And I just need to start with for me also a celebration. It's a bit mixed feelings, but for sure a celebration of a very dear friend, or more than a friend, a buddy of mine, who, well, if he wouldn't be there, because I feel him still with me, and for me he's still alive, but he helped me start on this project of the deprogramming, and he helped me even after some near-death experiences. So it's actually now coming together. Accidentally, I did not plan on purpose doing these near-death experiences. I was not even aware of that when I was planning it, and then later on I felt, oh, that comes together. So, but the flowers are also to celebrate him, and as well. Last Sunday I had a celebration with some loved ones, and they gave me beautiful flowers, also for my dear friend here, because of the transformation. Kind of mini party, but very nice. And also that I announced my name change, so in Rae Elisabeth. And yeah, that was a heartwarming party. So, well, a bit the celebration vibes you see then with the flowers, and these are also my favorite flowers. So they're very delicate, beautiful. They're lilac colored, purple, and white. But you don't see that maybe so well. Well, again, welcome everyone. So first, I like to talk about that I am still integrating and feeling how I will all integrate with all these personalities. I had to integrate, of course, and to come together in this body, and then also in this body who is by now over 50. And I was, of course, a lot of live streams talking about that I feel time flies by, literally also qua age. So I had a feeling like I have to just be quick as fast as possible, integrate, and that happened to end up in, well, years of deprogramming. And many of you have heard that in the live streams, of course, how of a tough and long journey that was. And to come back to last Sunday, when I had that very touching, beautiful little, also tiny little ceremony with it. My dear friend here and I did a small speech to explain what is mind control. And they, of course, know me for years, but only a few times a year. We don't have a lot of visitors here, because, this is a transformation house, and inner processing, we just don't have many visits. And that's okay. I accepted that. But they accepted it, and they received our speech very well. But I was aware of that, how difficult it actually is, specifically for the people who know me already for years, for the tiny people who were left over from already the ones I lost in the process and in my deprogramming. And I realized how difficult it is for me to explain what mind control is. And then my dear friend pointed at me, like, in feedback, you were really trying to find the words. And then I said, and I couldn't. So I realized, and then she gave me great feedback, like, that the most simple answer is actually I explain mind control already, because of how I experienced the deprogramming. So that is already explaining mind control. And then I was thinking, like, that's true. So if you watch all of my live streams, then you also see the change, and also my integration, because I Very also because of the special birthday of this very miraculous, beautiful man. That made me also go back to how this all started, and that was because of his presence. So I remembered him in the Dutch life when I was in the front life, and I was actually, I was already a couple of years healing from my inner wounds with the sexual abuse in my front life, and that was in the Netherlands for the people who I'm new to. And that started in 2000, in the year 2000, and that I met also the dear friend who has later on, specifically past 2010, told me like, yeah, come live inside the house because we're not sure if you are safe, if you're safe enough because the programmers could grab me literally from the street or with a trick to try to pull me back into the programming via some government buildings or something. And that can go very invisible. Like, for example, when I would get a passport or something, because you have to renew that, of course, in a while. And that in that government building of which I then had to get my passport, there were weird things did happen. And what I later on felt like, oh, that could have been a tactic to try to reprogram me or to scare off some inner personality, personality still in me. Hello, Tahir Shah. I'm from the Netherlands. You're from Pakistan. Yeah, you were earlier in the live stream. I'm doing fine. Very well. So, yeah, greetings to Pakistan as well. So, my deprogramming that's caused me that I went through also these near-death experiences, of which I will now talk tonight about more extendedly. And to come back to the birthday of this man, he started my deprogramming, in fact, already from the USA specifically. And as many of you know, you can actually see my basic split up personalities in a Dutch one and an American English one. And this Dutch one, which I call the front I started to remember with the sexual abuse also from Belgium and Germany, later on in later years past 2000, and that I was I was so confronted with first that abuse, the sexual abuse, but I did not remember this man yet from the Dutch personality. But he, from approximately 2009, started to approach me already actually from 2006. And when I did the memory recall, then I had, of course, my memories with him together, and that he tried to as well deprogram me, and that he experienced as well with me this what I call heart collapse, and when I was in the hospitals, then was told to me that I had a heart attack, or in some cases that even my heart stopped, and that they had to get a defibrillator to get me back to life. But there happened far more. So, hey, Freebird, welcome. Welcome on YouTube, everyone. And I'm also on my fully English YouTube channel. And also welcome everyone on Trovo. Hello, everyone. And thank you for joining the channel. And also thank you for hosting. For the ones who are hosting on Trovo, thank you so much. So, to come back to, so I have a whole story to tell. If I am talking about near-death experiences, then I will talk this evening about as well from what I experienced in a near-death experiences with this man who tried to help me out of the MKultra and out of the deep state. He actually literally at times also helped me to flee, literally to flee, when I passed out on a stage in a theater. And I told already about the secret theaters, which were even a lot of times held underneath public theaters, for their ritualistic and their theaters, which is the performances are the majority are dancing and erotic dance, and I was programmed for that as well, which is called Monarch programming. So I saw something. I had to check something. Sorry for that. Okay. Hello, Alice. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Alice. Welcome. Okay. All right. So I will talk also about experiences with him. Dear Tahir Shah, this is not a live stream for that. I'm so sorry for that. So this is about MKultra, and yeah, I send you, of course, the best of energy and love and vibes. But this is not a live stream to. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. So I will continue my story. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. That is what happens. I'm into the MKultra, and well, I will now go to my. One moment, please. Then I will check something. Yeah, today I was, by the way, in a celebrative mode, so I was dancing and singing and yeah, with special music, so that was nice. And right before the live stream, I was still playing music, which is a connection between this man and me. So it was really kind of celebration today. And then I was wondering, like, oh, now I'm starting the live stream. How will I feel? Because it's actually the first time that I really decided to, yeah, in the spirit that he then stays with me, if that is clear enough, because I was, of course, still deprogramming and becoming whole, and now I realize now I am in this Rae Elisabeth, which feels like my original me, and it is so special to feel. So this is new now. So I'm not sure how I will respond. How I will respond to this live stream, because I'm no longer in the programming. And that's the good news. Maybe I already told you all in English in the last live stream, but this is what is told to me by several, not only the beautiful angel with the scrolls, but also that I feel that, but also got acknowledged from other people who know me very well and my process, and I trust them dearly, and they also see it in my energy, in my they acknowledged that they felt that the programming is gone. So that is of course an amazing news. And hello Pachinko, 108, welcome. I have to check first something. Okay. Okay, I had to do something, dear people. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, well. Okay. I had to arrange something. Hi everyone again. Yes, it's a celebration, Pachinko. If I see it right. Oh yeah, nice these emotes. I couldn't see it very well. So that's why you see the flowers, not only to honor him, but also to celebrate of recent party in the house here. That doesn't happen a lot at a party, because I changed my name, and to express also kind of integration party, because I have no longer the programming in me. So That is actually also the summary of my deprogramming, and I talk lately about these scrolls and that beautiful special angel who's guiding me in, as well, guiding me through this whole renewal of feeling Rae Elisabeth, but also that I have no programming any longer. But a small example is that I still am at times bothered by, yeah, small things that I suddenly seem to be back in my old me, as Monique, and that is a pattern of that I'm then extremely serious and heavy, so that I then carry the world on my shoulders. That is a bit the feeling, and here the dear friend here, she then can immediately detect that, and she has humor. She says then your whole face is then like a really sad eyes and a very serious face, and yeah, that was nice as feedback as well to get back. But that is also part of that the programming is gone. That it's not like, yes, I am now fully whole. And literally, no longer programmers can also grab me. By the way, that is also the good news. So that is also why flowers really fit for tonight. In the Netherlands, is night. So that is actually the biggest thing what I come across in the integration process nowadays, that I can feel totally happy and also very clear in my head, and then suddenly it turns, and then I feel drained and I feel more low energy, in low vibes, and so on. So, but yeah, that's I think that's human too, to experience that. So I take a sip of my tea. Well, with the deprogramming, when I started, I will go back in these near death experiences, and also that I've been in dimensions and heavens. And I might, Lily, is it Engels tonight? Yes, it's English. It's always English on Tuesday, Lily. So, and by the way, for all the Dutchies, I plan on going live coming Thursday, and I will get an acknowledgement for that I will go live Thursday. I think I will, but I don't want to disappoint people. So I will Wednesday in the late afternoon, at least, yeah, in the evening, early evening, I will add a post on my Facebook timeline that I will go through with this live stream, and that starts then at 11 o'clock, and that's then in Dutch, Lily. So, and of course, Saturday another Dutch live stream, and Tuesdays is for now always in English. So. Okay, so the whole timeline in these near death experiences was, so the part what I mentioned with this man who tried to get me out of the deep state and out of the programming world. But I also had near death experiences during experiments. I have some drawings which I might show you, maybe right before or maybe right after the break. I'm not sure. It depends how I will, I will be capable also with my energy level, and because I was today very happy and very in a celebrative way, and at the same time, yeah, I'm very curious, as I said, how I will respond in that. Yeah, it's so hard to explain in all the split upness of all these personalities. I realize maybe it is hard to explain that even with this man who saved me and helped me to also in the front life get to know him, get to remembering him, but specifically that I remember all the mind control, but that I now feel him in a continuous way that is very special and new to me. So that is the great news. Hello, Jos. Welcome tonight. Welcome. So let's see how I will go in this flow of that I feel his presence with me, and that is I realize that is amazing actually. But I hope I can concentrate on my story. And Jos is going to make a cappuccino. Well, I leave it with ginger, turmeric. I hope I pronounce it well. Turmeric tea and orange and lemon. So grey tea, no longer green tea. Because of green tea, I couldn't sleep any longer. So I stopped that. But if I see cappuccino, then I really long for a cappuccino, Jos. So have a great cappuccino. So, um, so I will also talk about the dimensions I met and these drawings I was talking about. I think I will show you later on in 45 minutes, maybe approximately, that they are heavy and graphic. So be warned. The ones with this dear man I found too intimate and too private, so I will not disclose. But a few, and of which you also see some of the experiments done to me, of which that caused me to go out of my body and so on. So, to come back to that whole journey, because this man had and has a special place in my heart, in my life, and will be forever. I mean, that is just you can imagine if someone saves you and keeps on having the patience to love you despite being distances away physically. He sacrificed a lot also of his safety, of course, and that is just a love forever, and I feel that now even stronger than ever. So that is very special to me to share that as well. What I can share, what is too private, I will of course not disclose. So that is the red thread. So when I started to remember him, that was around actually past 2009, but then the memories came with 2006 and so on, and that I was told that I had heart problems. And these heart problems related to that I was, by the way, in the time that I was deprogramming here in the house, I was lying down on the couch all the time. And then still, I didn't want to go to bed to sleep. No, I want to just lie down on the couch and then watch some videos. And what I did in the deprogramming, looking back, I could all day long lie down on the couch and just only think of one thing. That when I will get through this, then I will be further and closer to also remembering this man, also honoring this man, and honoring, of course, the dear friend who is still, giving me her roof under her, the roof to live under and the residence where I am. So I am extremely grateful for that. And that kept me going. But I still have even pictures and so on that you see me just lie flat on the couch. And then still, as I said earlier, I still have problems to sleep at daytime. So if I am deadly tired, then still I am not going to do a real siesta. I can lie in the sun a bit and try to sleep and close my eyes, but I never ever fall asleep at daytime, and that is still a remain of the programming. So some leftovers, I think I will keep experiencing. Maybe it also will subside. I'm not sure, but I'm still doing the live stream. So I'm curious how this all will unfold. As I said, also already for weeks, that I really each live stream feeling like, can I still talk about MKultra? Can I still talk about my past? And that sometimes I feel like, okay, this could be one of the last live streams. I am only talking a full live stream about MKultra or about my experiences of having been mind controlled. But until now, I still have subjects. And I'm also happy with that because I love doing the live streams. But it is possible that the live streams will go in a certain, not another direction, but yeah, let's see. I also lean on my beautiful angel that I will be guided into what fits for a live stream, and for sure I enjoy it a lot. So, and let me look on Trovo again. I have to a bit look around everywhere, so that's why you see me. Okay, where's Trovo? I lost the Trovo chat. Oh no, it's here. Wait. I'm looking behind all my tab windows, window tabs, if I can find Trovo. Ah, here it is. Ah, okay. All right. So these near-death experiences, I call them near-death experiences because that's a term which I think is well known by the majority across the world. And near-death experience, it already says a lot about that I was almost dead. Well, I have in the programming with this near-death experience, there is of course a fundament of that's why I believe that I survived these many near-death experiences. This is also in the majority of live streams, I say that I at least had 3 near-death experiences, and these 3 near-death experiences I explained, and they were connected to rituals also as well. But I was in that time still fearful and a bit insecure to if I say that I had more than 3 near-death experiences, that I was more than 3 times past in the afterlife and in also other dimensions, how would ever even believe people me? But since I now realize I'm whole and I have nothing to fear, it's my story, and if people don't want to listen or don't believe it, that's their thing. That's not my thing. That's their thing. So I could let go a lot of that. So that is also, of course, yeah, for me very nice to feel that. So yes, I can almost say a lot of times past death stages. Well, the education, as my programmers called it, the education was done already when I was very little, when I was only a toddler, and even younger, in my opinion, because I relived them all. But there are certain opinions about that it doesn't exist, that you cannot recall your when you were a baby. Well, my opinion is, and my belief system is that you can recall what you experienced, and even in the womb. And I also relived my own birth, so, and my real birth mother, and she was now I lost again the word, the term for it, the translation. Surrogate mother. I cannot even pronounce it. So, and these extremely traumatic experiences that gives already what I call a lot of times a blueprint of that's when you're as young as possible being used to, for example, being tortured like I was. And being tortured, I mean, with electroshocks, but that in combination with the Kundalini energy, so with the sexual energy, and also the energy which will be activated also through sodomizing. And I hate that word, but it is one of the tricks what these programmers want, and also what the Luciferians like. I say it now a bit in a neat way, but they prefer it through that part. Also because that is then the sacral chakra, then it hits the tailbone of the whole spinal core, and it creates an incredible Kundalini energy. And if the Kundalini energy is stirred up and pulled, and also the brain is then expanding, and there is an increasity of the lust energy, if you know what I mean. And I try to express the words as as best I can, which is not too rough. But yeah, now and then I will be graphic, but I think I will not be too graphic like a few live streams ago, so that you know that. And I will warn when it's really about the details in, in the tortures. Well, so this near-death experience I had to be taught already from when I was little, and when I was a baby, for example, my first memories were that I was lying and floating in an aquarium filled with water, and that tubes were put, everywhere they could in and on my body, and also to of course check my heartbeat and my breathing and so on. And I had to have the feeling that I would drown. That was one of the tortures. And the other torture was that then with crystal liquid, that was in later experiments. Later on, I read in Springmeyer's book that he talked as well about crystal liquid, and then I felt seen because I felt like crystal liquid. Crystal is is a special matter, and I also was with giant beings from the Himalaya when I went to their world, and the crystal world was beautiful. The crystals are they have memory. They have memories. They carry a lot of memories also from Earth and from other colonizations and other dimensions. I love working with crystals as well, and also giant crystals. You know, these shaped ones like a pencil, but a giant. They have a certain name, but I forgot. So I apologize for that if I lose terms from Dutch to English or the other way around. I still hope that it will one day be better, and that's also why I'm very much into the live streaming, because the live streaming is for me as well a guideline in my proceeding ahead for healing and for being whole again. Jos, your aura is good and spirit is good. You have played long stocking, and you have played long stocking. Long stocking? I don't understand what you write, Jos, but thank you so much. I feel, it is, I feel great. But I was, as I said earlier, I noticed now, while I'm in the live stream, that I was today celebrating, and I was dancing and I was singing on the music of, connected to that great man who helped me survive, who I will always be grateful for. And now I realize, I bumped into the live stream. I started the live stream, and how will I react now? So it was a bit tensed when it was turning on the live stream. Like, I hope I will keep my energy high enough, my energy level, because it's the first time that I was on his birthday so feeling him continuously. And that happens lately since I am Rae Elisabeth and choose that name. And also on the party last Sunday, the mini party, I also felt him whole day. So it is amazing what is happening. It is Dutch. Oh, Pippi Longstrumpf. Ah, and you have played long stocking. Okay. Pippi Langkous. It's how they call it in Dutch. Oh, she's super strong, huh? Is that what you mean? Because I would love to be super strong. I did have some powers, but that was with the AI as well. That's another story. Maybe I will. I will, by the way, also talk about abductions and aliens, and what I myself had experienced. So let's see. Yeah, Jos. Yeah, now I understand. Yeah, Pippi Longstrumpf, I believe it's called also in English. That I know her like that, but a great story, great television series as well. I watched that very, very often. That's many years ago. So, what was I talking about? So this basic programming, what was consisted of what I talked about, that I was put in that aquarium, and as well another thing was that I was buried alive, and with that burying alive, I had to have the feeling of that I would never would be able to get out, and that I was put in narrow spaces like pits, also wells, water wells, but also giant pipelines down. And I have to think of when that happens sometimes, that you then hear stories or on YouTube or on the mainstream media that a little child or toddler has been fallen in a long pipe down. And yeah, I always felt like, oh, I understand how it feels. But I was, of course, guided in that pipeline because the programmers never wanted me to die because they invested too much in me. Because I said that in a couple of live streams, but it is really true. When an MK Ultra is being chosen to have put in programming like I had in MK Ultra, but also Monarch programming and Black Ops, because in me was put so much information and input. It is amazing energy and money what they put in to create MK Ultras. And this is also, by the way, why the programmers never let go of an MK Ultra. And I will, for the rest of my life, and even if the last programmer dies, and he's now at a very high age, and one of the programmers I know now talk about a lot about that. There are tiny books with my codes of my programming, and yeah, somewhere they are being given to a successor of the successor. That's the better word. A successor of the programmer, and of the one of them I know who that is, and that is the female programmer. And yeah, it is. That's what I wanted to say, because I lost my train of thought now. But that's okay. So in these pipelines, that's what I wanted to say. That of course they were helping me down, but then left me there in the dark and in the cold. And specifically, these aquarium experience I had in the first beginning of when I was having the relivings that that I could not breathe. And that is being used as well to check if I could still deal with tortures and with these experiments. Another thing what I never dare to mention is that being sodomized is sadly enough the basic fundament for MK Ultra and Monarch programming. So I was forced to undergo that uncountable times, and also with groups of men who then, and when I was very little as well, so grown up men, huh? And then when I was a little girl, can you imagine how painful it was? And this is why it had two consequences: that I hardly did not dare to go to school in the Netherlands. I was hardly there because I was often sick, because I was so often sexually abused and sodomized. That made me that I got bladder infections, and I felt ashamed because I hardly could walk after all that abuse, and that I was also very much being called out on school because I walked funny. And I still, when I walk also, and I'm still very focused on that I walk straight, and that I will never ever want to go walk with the feet outwards or a bit wobbly. I'm very, very much a bit overdone, but I wouldn't be capable, I think, of dealing with that if I would walk like that when I was used to. But it's still a bit in my feet and in my legs. Those are the remains of the programming. Hello, Tineke Jessie, welcome. So this basic fundament, and then next to this, what I mentioned, like being sodomized and being sexual abused, and not only sexually abused from below, but also from above. And I had certain jewelry which the programmers designed specifically for me, and I had always for certain rituals, and when I was with certain people that could, a lot of the monarchies and presidents, that in the rituals as well, that I had to wear this type of jewelry. And a part of the jewelry was, I don't know how they call it, but it is a kind of what was in the medieval way being made to create a shield that no one would be able to enter through with sexual intercourse and being sodomized, and that I was forced to wear that, and there was a lock on it, so I also had to undergo that. The same counts for, there is a movie about the mask, and this mask was also closed with a lock, and there is a movie, I believe, I forgot the title of it, that this mask was closed with a key, and that man was closed up in prison, and that mask was never being put off, and it was also to keep his identity from the world to see. But it is of course incredibly humiliating to wear such a full mask around me, and that mask I was forced to wear was a lot of times also latex, but also from a hard, tougher material, and it was very tough to wear that. But I was so trained. But when I saw from the inside, because there was always a part of me who did feel, and then when I saw that from within, entering, because it was always like a certain ritual when these jewels were brought to me. And these jewels also were a certain pearl here on my forehead with a chain of gold. I had a necklace, and for the breasts, certain pins, and for the navel, umbilical cord, of course. And then at times that specific jeweled and bejeweled, filled with jewels, because it was beautifully done. But it was to humiliate me, and also that I was with owners and handlers, and many of them were from monarchies, and also even some presidents. One of them wanted to have something being made for me with specific diamonds, and he had his own lock and key. And this is why the term behind lock and key is triggering me still a bit. And then I feel so sad, because a lot of these mind controls and MK Ultras you see often with a key around the neck. Maybe you recognize that also a lot of celebrities, or they wear earrings that they look like keys, and with certain other alarming signals that I hardly can know. Oh, that one is sadly enough an MK Ultra, but it is also to show to the insiders, like, oh, she's a mind controlled slave, and it is specifically to humiliate the ones who are MK Ultra themselves. And this president who had made for me a specific mask that was so tightened around my face, and I could hardly move my mouth, and it was awful. So I was almost all the time forced to breathe through my nose. So that was extremely when they were in that, always in a kind of ceremonial way, when they carried these jewels towards me, and I saw that specific one, then I was already from within so scared. And that is what the programmers want. They want just scare off already the personalities who are from within experiencing it all, but cannot reach out to the outside, and they are stuck into the walls of also the electroshocks and the experiments. And these experiments to create, for example, what I had to endure, and what I just told, I realize it is very intimate, and I have tears in my eyes of talking about it. But it needs to be talked about, and I'm I must not be the only one who talks about these specific details. And only last few months I dare to talk about these details, about sodomizing and necrophilia, which is a beloved activity as well of these people. And these people are people who guide, I say it again, they lead countries. They are seen as leaders of countries, not maybe from within and not maybe for a lot of people who live in these countries, but they are still there. And why are they still there? And that is why I do my story. I am more and more amazed by how, yeah, how still, like I use that example a lot, like in the Netherlands, that we celebrate each year. It's now King's Day, and other times it was Queen's Day, and 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 on that day I am overall sad, um, and I cannot really celebrate because for me it's I don't get I can't, and that is so sad that there's still a gap between that people start to realize this is happening, this is true. And yes, these masks were literally material masks, and these yeah, in Dutch they call it kuisheidsgordel, but I forgot the name for it in English. But it is about to protect the delicate parts down below as a woman, and that no one else but the owner can enter there. That is actually the meaning behind it, and then always the key. They always had their own key, and that is, yeah, that is of course very symbolizing. Uh, when I was in that life, like, yeah, you're forever enslaved. That is actually what I had to think. And also when I was deprogramming, I had to go a lot through these thinking layers in me, or in my brain was so put in, you will never be believed and you will never be free. So I went a lot through these lock and key programming. Another one, famous one, is that you have to hide. In the 60s, there was a threat of atomic war, and then the children there at school were learned a certain song. I forgot now the song, but it was also to hide and seek, or to hide underneath the desks, or to hide underneath the door, the door posts. I hope I say it well. Deurkozijnen, that you have to stand there in case of an atomic war or earthquake. But hide underneath these tables, and I still hear that melody of that song, so I will not sing that song because otherwise it can trigger maybe. Jos Grover, chastity belt is English. Chastity belt. Well, it sounds a bit chic in English, I must say, but I do recognize it. Thanks for looking it up, and Yvonne as well. Chastity belt. Yeah, and they were beautifully designed, but some of them looked like the medieval ones, and some of specifically the monarchies, they are very conservative, and they love this medieval torture devices as well. And many of the castles still are hidden rooms and cellars and catacombs, or hidden tunnels towards torture rooms. And I was also guided to specific, very, very, with AI, certain torture rooms as well. And this is also a bridge to these near-death experiences. Like, it is also to introduce you all in that these near-death experiences as a mind control that I still can, I believe, but I could deal with more pain because I was divided in all these personalities, and I was trained. It's literally like if you trained in the military from when you were a child on, and you were just trained to be hard and tough, and and had muscles to work out and do, for example, your challenge each day with running or with climbing walls, etc. And if you keep on doing that experience, you stay in that in that physical behavior and the training of that. So I was used to being tortured, so my pain level was far lower or bigger, higher, I must say. That's the pain threshold. That was so extremely high that I also, when I was young in the front life and I went to the dentist, that a personality then took over who didn't want any anesthesia. Never, everything was done in my mouth with drilling, if there were some holes in my teeth, because a lot of times with these near-death experiences as well, there were forced these techniques also in my mouth, like literally beugels, how you say that, these structures of a metal, and they were put in my mouth to keep my mouth open and so on. So my teeth were a lot of times being hurt and tortured as well. These were all done to trigger, but specifically to train me that I would keep up with that high pain threshold. So I could never be compared to someone else, and I don't want to compare myself to other people, but I have that example. I talked a lot about that example of that I was changing a lamp, or I had to do something with the electrical wire and the ceiling, and there was standing someone nearby, and then I was shocked with electricity because that ran through my hand, and I hardly moved. So it was for me not such a big deal. And he said, like, wow, are you used to that or something? And that is also part which I until now never shared as well, but maybe a tiny trigger warning. Yeah, it's hard for me to know what is really graphic or not, but I maybe did mention it a bit, but not extendedly, that I was also in the Dutch front life with the parents who sexually abused me, specifically the granddad who lived in our house, so he could also sexually abuse me often. And I'm very open about it, that I'm also sexually abused by both parents, so by the man and the woman parent. Well, I don't say they are my parents, so I cannot any longer. But I sent them love, and I'm not even sure if they're still alive or not. I'm sure I will feel that if they crossed over this earthly life. But that this granddad not only put me in fridges, refrigerators, but also that he wound me or connected me to electrical cords. And then these electrical cords were not only that I had to put them in my hands, hold them in my hands, but he also did that in my mouth and on other certain entrances of my body. And that sounds all very horrific, and they were horrific, but I was so trained, so my body learned not to feel. And this is a very important thing as well in all these near-death experiences, because in the experiments you think, okay, to create a near-death experience specifically, and I will also explain in a bit why that has been done, these near-death experiences being called up by the programmers and by some handlers, and some of them were presidents as well, and also of the monarchies, that there is a reason behind why I was not getting an anesthesia. And yes, you hear me well. I was not being drugged or that I was put into a calms. No. What was called up is called the doll programming. And this doll programming is that when I was very little, that my arms and legs were disjointed, and then I was put around me in silk cloth, and that it had to be tightened, and I was put in a child's position. I did talk about that already a lot of times, but that is an extremely important basics of the doll programming. And then because of the disjointed legs and arms, and then at a certain point, and for sure, because I was also being tightened in all these uh, silk bands twisted around me, then there, after a couple of hours, then it starts to become numb and non-feeling. Well, the programmers want to keep this state and seal that state of numb feeling. So they want to create that personality who then can recall that numb feeling of being lying there with the disjointed legs and arms. And this is why they seal it also after they untightened me, again with electroshocks and or with some other horrific trauma. And then afterwards, then I was brought to a light and bright room, which was totally white and light, literally light, and I had the most soft pillows and mattress I was put on. And there was always, I will never forget that, always a small breeze of fresh air, very soft fresh air, and there were always windows a bit in that air, in that soft air a bit, that they were flowing a bit, that they were being moved by the, moving curtains by that fresh breath of air. And that was always the same surroundings, and that's very important because then they could again seal this personality, and the personality then who was brought to the light and bright room would then recall, so that would then cause the trigger, the light and bright room would then be the trigger for, I'm now safe, I can lie down, now I get nice hot milk with some herbs and honey. Oh, I love milk and honey, warm milk and honey. And there were nurses, I call them nuns, because they were wearing totally white garments and dresses, very simple dresses, but also some veils. And I called them also always the white nuns. And then I was eased down, and that was again, then there was again a personality created. And that personality who endured or was feeling so nice in that light and bright room, that this that she then would lie there and know, I will keep this with me forever. I will hold on to this, and that is what the programmers want. And this is also why in the programming, specific programmers are being appointed who work for the basic programmers, and they then trigger and can trigger then even very quick, for example, the personalities who carry this light and bright room. And other handlers and other assistants of the programmers then would then assist for when I was, for example, in a ritual where I had to wear that chastity belt. I hope I pronounce it well now. So, I think it's good to know these details, because this is the basics for that I was capable of coming back out of these near-death stages. The near-death stages, by the way, I was specifically being trained and also educated in that I had a max of minutes that I could be out of air and that I would really get brain damage. But you can imagine if these measures are being done when already as a little girl or a little boy, it also happens to boys and men, that many of them don't survive, and many of them I saw getting psychosis when they were forced to undergo these type of things. And I also was forced to watch that, because then I would have an example of, you better be very, very brave, very brave, but also behave, so that you then will survive and have the best percentage of survive this. So this is an extremely important fundament to be capable of dealing with these near-death experiments. Tineke Jessie, I will read the chat. They are all evil creeps. Yeah, it is for me the hardest to see that a lot of them are still leading countries and leading organizations, and that is also what is significant to what occurs to me is that I came across. That was today. Yeah, that was today. I hope I don't forget that example. I lost my train of thought, but oh yeah, now I know that a certain man. Speaking of experiments, I was with him and I also in Black Ops was forced to do experiments with him and for him, and he suddenly I saw in the MSM again a report about him and that he advises in the next pandemic to that people who were not getting this cheat to say it like that they would have to be exiled and put in camps. And then I felt like, okay, all right. And I did not check if it was a true news subject or news article. And I did not want to put any energy in that because I wanted to celebrate today, of course, the birthday of this beautiful man and preparation for tonight. So I let go of that. But that's an example of, for me, who knew him, who knew how cruel, the cruelty, and then that is so frustrating. And I had also to work hard on overcome all this frustration because I met so many of these people and at the highest level of what you call highest level of governments and monarchies. And yeah, it is really the truth, but I know it's a lot, and I know for the people maybe I am new to, it is maybe unbelievable, but it is true, and it is true. Yeah, and yeah, this. Hey, Ineke, you're. Oh wow! Also, you have a nice cup of coffee. Well, enjoy, enjoy. Nice of you to join, and everyone also on Indivini and also on Trophy, Trovo, Trophy. Oh gosh. Hey Barry on Trovo, welcome. Thanks for the features on Trovo. Thanks so much. Did I forgot a channel? Trovo, yeah, my second YouTube channel, of course. Everyone also welcome. I sadly cannot see the chat, so I will check also there if people are watching and are there comments. Oh, I see already 8:45. How fast does these things go? And I also want to talk about all the heavens. Yeah, I call specifically the heavens because oh boy, it's like also with like last Saturday that I had too short of time to talk about everything. But yeah, that's freedom of working and doing my own live stream. Can do a next part. So if I will not come to the subject extendedly about the heavens and dimensions, and I love to talk about, but that will be past the break. But yeah, we're already entering the break because I wanted also to talk about more about my experiences with Joseph Roelof and my own spiritual journey, because and the relation with him spiritually, that is very interesting. It can be interesting as well. Yeah, Tineke Jessie, I will not answer that, but I understand your reaction. So, and I also feel today again how more strict rules have become, and I'm really sad about that. And I spoke today with someone who was working on leaving Netherlands. Again, someone I meet not so many people, but I come across that as well on social media. A lot of people want to get away from the Netherlands, specifically from the Netherlands. Yeah, it is, but you know me, say no to evil. But I truly believe that the positive timeline is already here. And if people start to see that, and then I believe that can go very quickly, the tumbling to the positive side. It can go so quickly. It's just what I think. I could be wrong. I have to say that for the yeah, that feels safer than to speak out, but I have to say that. I hate it, but I have to say it. Yeah. So I wanted to go to my YouTube channel. Let me see. Current viewers on my second YouTube. One. One is watching. Hello, the one who is watching. I think that is me, who is the streamer. But I can laugh about that. Yeah, to talk about that second live stream, I'm really thinking about this one, the first YouTube with all the Dutch and English live streams. Actually, it goes pretty well with for the subscribers, I believe, because it's very clear Tuesday English, Saturday Dutch. So maybe I will go for that YouTube channel more. I'm not sure, but hello, Nobby Noble. Oh, welcome as well on YouTube. Nice to see you again here. And dear people on Trovo as well, and for the people who joined my channel, so welcome there. Okay, well maybe it is a good time. What shall I do? Now I will talk a bit then I will close off. So now you have more extendedly and in detail. This is the fundament to create that I was capable of experience these near-death experiences, and that's what I wanted to add. Besides that, it is important to create these personalities, as I explained, all types of personalities. And these personalities who specifically were, for example, trained and educated, as my programmers called that, very sarcastic, they were all put, for example, in one cluster or one grid of these 144, as I mentioned earlier, 12 times 12. And that could be several, by the way. I had so many experiences with these experiments and tortures. And the basic tortures were, the majority of them, which personalities carried in these near-death experiences, were the experiments on my heart, and that the personalities were connected to that, who carried these basic traumas with what I started the live stream with. So when I was so very little, with hooked to machines and so on. But I explained that already in the beginning of the live stream. And then I think we will head for a break now until 9 o'clock, and then I will continue about these experiments, and then my experiences in how that went, but specifically, I have several experiences in different heavens and dimensions. So I will also, I will also talk about that in a bit. So a break of approximately 10 minutes. I will also play some music. Yeah, and here we have my favorite one. I'm not having now my cup of coffee, my cup of tea, but I I find this one cute. So this one. And again, let me see. I'm, oh, wacht. Dat is de Nederlandse. That's the Dutch one. No, I have an English one for a break. Short break. Yeah, I have here the short break. So, short break. So, take a snack, a little drink, or I will refill my tea and music. And I realize it is a pretty tough subject as well. I hoped it would not be, yeah. I hoped it would not turn into a bit graphic, but yeah, I think it is okay that it was not too much of it. Which will I play? Let me see. Okay. I love this one. It's one of my favorites. I also play this song a lot of times just when I'm here in the house. And okay, I'll be back.
Yesterday's news has become today's blues, and I'm overcome. I didn't choose to feel this way. I got caught in the lights of some other man's spite, and now it seems as if my life bears the loss. But I'm still here searching for everything I hold dear. I'm still here believing in you. Step out from the fear. Used to feel good, yeah, in the old neighborhood. I could sense the respect of a passerby. I could trust a chance from that brief, peaceful glance. Maybe we'd share a smile along the way. I'm still here searching for everything I hold dear. I'm still here believing in you. So step out from the fear. I'm still here feeling that good will have its day. I'm still here. Yeah. Through all these years, I'm still here, looking for you. Oh, I'm still here searching for everything I hold dear. I'm still here believing in you. Won't you step out from the fear? I'm still here feeling that good will have its day. Yesterday's news has become today's blues, and I'm overcome. I didn't choose to feel this way.
Yeah, I just love the song. I always get a bit choked up because of the lyrics and the voice, the feeling in it. So it's one of my favorites. Another one, a bit more, well, happy. This one was a bit, yeah, not sad, but slow. Nobby Noble, I've just skinned up with my Earl Grey. Ah, oh, that's nice. Nice tea as well. I love Earl Grey as well. Okay. Where is... okay. Now, come on. Too many tabs open again. Okay, which one? Which one? Cannot decide. I have the wrong tab every time. Okay, Paradise Beach. Also a nice one. Okay, was a short one. Well, I think I will. Yeah, I will. I think I will continue. It's 9 o'clock in a bit, so and I like it to stay in the thread of talking. So I'll put the streamer off. Jos Schoven, it is very simple choosing a leader. Is nothing wrong anymore, but a leader you can trust is important. Yeah, that's the whole problem, of course, Jos. Yeah, I'm laughing, but yeah, there's a transparent leader and a good leader who you can trust. And it's just, I could be wrong, I have to say that. But yeah, it is, yeah. And there are good leaders. I know there are, but yeah, well, I don't have to explain you. The majority of you know how it works. So, and I myself notice I am tired as well of, yeah, not talking about it, but just okay. Let's change. Do the change. Change the world into a better one. That's just my own opinion. Okay, the running girl I put away. Yeah, I think I might show you an graphic warning, so I will do that past 9. I will also make an introduction to now these near-death experiences, because there were several types. And Yvonne is back. Yeah, welcome back, Yvonne. Yeah, well, I did not dive into, into him, but yeah, I have to study about that and more. I'm a bit done. Yeah, not done. Yeah, also I am. Like, but yeah, I'm celebrating my new me, and lately not so into studying about all these leaders, but the situation in the world for sure. And as you know, because I saw the plans from east to west that I'm very much aware of as well. Of from the people in China have hard time, are also going through hard times. The whole country seems to have been crushed now with the money that the whole country is now bankrupt, or showing the bankruptcy. So, and together with all the disasters and so on. But yeah, my heart goes out to everyone, all people who are in hard times, hardmanship. Yeah, but yeah. So these near-death experiences, they were with I did mention the experiments, and that was connected to majority of them the hard experiments, but also with the near-death experiences, I also was used for fertility, if I say it in a neat word. So I had to use my eggs because I came from these two hidden bloodlines, and then that is also the case in these people, because the majority of them are all befriended, or in a certain way they know each other from the rituals and so on. And there's a lot of even if they show friendship even in the rituals, then still there is a lot of discussions, and that they are not really into the same goal, but in the end they work together. So there is a lot of disturbances and fights in between these people as well. But they have one main goal, and that is to change humanity, to change DNA of the humanity, and to get humanity more and more in enslavement, and that they can literally get the God codes. Well, the God codes, that's a word I hear it so often, that they wanted to grab the God codes with the experiments, with the crystal liquid in me. But to come back to these fertility of mine, that even with certain presidents, and I say yes, a few, will not mention who or make any pointing at a certain president, but at least two that they wanted to have, you know, I cannot even say the words, but yeah, you know what I mean. And that was also one of them that it took part with after that happened, that this president also loves having intercourse with someone who is dying or in a near-death experience, or has stopped breathing for a while. And I notice it's still hard for me to talk about because it is so heavy. It is such a heavy subject because, for example, one person can have this experience of, for example, heart infarct, or that the heart stops, and that is done a one-time experience. And I am talking about it, that I have had several of these death experiences. Yeah, it is for me the truth, and I keep it with myself, so I will never put it on you all as you have to believe me. No, but it is what I all had to relive. And I have, by the way, some drawings of what these experiments were connected to, these near-death experiences. If I have them here, they should be there. Okay. That's interesting. Where are they? I put them all in here in the prism. Wait. This one I showed that also last Saturday as the only one, I think, but then also the time flew so quickly by that I still don't get it, that the whole live stream went so quickly. This is one of the relivings, and as I said earlier, there is a certain point of which the traumas are so painful and so that personalities take over who don't want to feel, and they many of the majority of MK Ultras who are deprogramming and reliving, they are out of the body when they remember. So they remember then the state they were in, and literally with traumas, then that is, if you undergo a trauma, then you're no longer in the body. That is the majority of times that is the case. Well, you see here also on the drawing that it was connected to the Statue of Liberty. Well, the Statue of Liberty, there are interesting stories going on. I myself know that the Statue of Liberty was on another island, and that now close to New York. It has been changed. Many people have that also seen that something is off with the placement of the Statue of Liberty. But the Statue of Liberty has been put in so many MK Ultras of what I know, in my time, of course, because from 2010 I'm no longer being in the programming. Maybe still there are MK Ultras who have the Statue of Liberty in them, and that counts as well for the Tower Eiffel in France. These special mark spots on the map in countries, in cities, that's perfect for putting in the programming, because these places or these statues, for example, they will stay, in fact, almost forever in a town, unless, of course, there is a huge earthquake or a disaster. Sometimes when, for example, an important symbol is being destroyed because that fits for the programming, because many MK Ultras carry, for example, a certain statue in the programming, and that did happen, by the way, that a certain statue has been destroyed because of that programming should never be released in MK Ultras, because that didn't fit any longer in the timeline, because then these MK Ultras would be triggered. That's what I know. That's part of one of the black ops, and that they then would have been triggered into certain people who would then end lives, and because of the tiny change in the history of the earth, that these people were changed into working for the deep state. So, and the deep state did not want to get rid of these people. That is very shortcut of the story behind it. So what you see in that expression, that is the expression of when I was reliving it. With wide opened eyes, and the patch on the breastbone, at the height of the heart, that was a lot of time used. Also, when I was a little girl, there are already replacements for the skin, and they are transparent. It has no glue. It's just it felt also like skin. It was not painful. It was. Yeah, and they could then look like a window inside the body, and that sounds weird. And nothing has to be cut or being moved away. It creates just that they could see through it, down, inside, and underneath the breastbone. And I know it sounds weird, but it is very reality what I had to endure. And if you want to read what is there, then you can, of course, also do that later on, maybe by reviewing the live stream, and then you can put the video on pause. Another thing, that's the same one. That one not. Let me see. This one is heavy, so graphic warning. So I will count from 5 to 0, and then you see this drawing. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. yeah, this is an example of the reality. Yeah, this is a heavy one. So again, graphic warning. These types of for in the mouth, I had to have a lot. I was a lot of being put in these devices, and you also see there in the reliving that personality who was out of the body, who had to relive this, that she also sketched these letters, I died, heart experiment. So literally, and I saw actually only recent when I was preparing the live streams that I saw experiment. So in the emotions, yeah, that happens. That it is then, yeah, these that it has been written in the wrong way. All these type of devices do exist. When I was also in Black Ops involved in also with abductions. Also that were a type of grays. I talked about many times about these tinier types of grays who have in there somewhere in the genetic past they have a memory of their own world, and my heart goes out to them because they were so changed into becoming almost cold and without any consciousness. But I have seen with my clairvoyancy and with checking them with my clairvoyancy that they do have feelings somewhere deep within, and I hope they will, yeah, that they will remember. So in my opinion, they're not fully synthetic, but that's my opinion, because I've seen in them life and consciousness somewhere in their history. So yes, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is also a sight to behold. Yeah, yeah. Oh, the Tower of Pisa. That's also a good example, Jos. That's accurate. I will also put it. Wait, full screen. No, window, and I also can see it. So with this device, you see then as well that it's totally encased and these eyes wide open. That is to express how I talked about earlier that did I get any anesthesia? Well, with the programmers, they wanted specifically me to be awake, and this is maybe the hardest thing to believe. Like this is why the doll programming, of which I talked about before the break, how important that is, because that I would then feel nothing. I would feel nothing what would happen. And by the way, the text you see on the right corner, I died, I lived, I died, I lived, and I died, and I lived. I died, and I lived. I died, and I lived. And this was also the personality who did experience more of these life and death situations. Well, maybe you can read it all yourself, but this it also I write there, it merged with my body and entered in my skull. I felt it crawl through my whole head, and I was awake. But at the same time, of course, that personality was in the doll programming, so also numb. And had to hold the edge of the device, cause needed to connect hands. Energy spots is what was close to the heart. So what you see me holding there was that contact with my hands, that was important. And this was an alien device, by the way. So this is an example of that. And I hope it was not too heavy. So that is one. Let's see. That's this one. And here is another one. Is this one heavy? Yeah. I also look at it from a different perspective, because I feel now in my Rae Elisabeth energy, different about it. So I'm less scared to show. This is another one. And this is an example of that I was put a lot in these dentist chairs. And this type of dentist chair also on the Monarch. And in Monarch, there were the majority of boys being put there under in experiments, and a lot of it with these weird coils in all kinds of shapes and copper coils and with Tesla energy. But I also was there and had to endure part of programming there and experiments. So, well, here you see also me putting on a chair and the surgical stuff. And you see here then also, this is how I did my deprogramming. And I also loved to share that it was a complete, and this helped me get out of a flashback. In the experiments, when I had these near-death experiences, what happened was that I always was guided by at least one angel. And I will put away this one. So those were the heavy experiments, and I have even more graphic drawings, which I will not show. So I felt myself then being pulled out of my body because the doll programming was taught to not feel. So what you see and on these examples of these drawings was overall these opened eyes, far open eyes, and that's the sign of trance. And that is the shock of this doll programming. And this doll programming is, how can I explain that? That even in the doll programming, I hardly winked, and it was like I was frozen in time. Well, that is the body who was lying there, but I myself, as being, and also the emotional one in me, the emotional was being, and this angel was then gently, from the beginning, she was stroking the silk that was a silky from the umbilical cord. When I was exploded out of my body, then that angel was stroking that umbilical cord, and that umbilical cord. It's a difficult word for us Dutch people, dear people from abroad. And that was silky silverish always, with a shine of milk, but with silver sparkles in it. And that angel kept on pulling at it, like extending it in a gentle, very gentle way, because otherwise the umbilical cord, even with these experiments and this incredible trauma, because if I would have been there without the doll programming, I would certainly not have survived it, because this is a pain of which, by the way, when I did the deprogramming and in the recovering, I did have also relivings even after the main reliving, that I sometimes had to go through the painful, I believe what I felt at that moment, so that I could almost feel that it was going into my skull and also in my heart. And I literally felt, for example, the crystal liquid, I literally can re-feel how that felt. I felt it through my veins and through my arteries and through my heart. And that sounds bizarre, but I did feel it so, and I can still recall that feeling, how that was. Well, that angel was then, as I said, extending that umbilical cord, because otherwise it would be so traumatic, even though the doll programming helped me to get, to survive this. And then there was a bit higher up, so then I was, for example, at the ceiling of the surgery room, which were overall in my memories were extremely high, and a lot of them were circular. Even in Montauk, there was a kind of theater-like room, very weird with bizarre tiles, and these tiles had a shine en a kind of wat is marmer ook alweer in het Engels? What is marmer in English? I forgot. But it is a kind of tile, and the tile had a army green color, a soft, almost minty green color, and I still know the design. And that then it was a theater, and I saw there people watching on chairs how that went with very bizarre how people love watching, by the way, these experiments. And then the majority of them, some of them I saw when I was out of the body and floating against the ceiling, that I could see that a lot of them had also sexual arousement, and a lot of times that there were orgies. And yeah, it is awful that they used my torture as well for their pleasure. And then I saw literally also demons. And there are demons, by the way, who have these pointy tails which look like an arrow, and they have devilish eyes. Devilish eyes do exist. Devilish eyes, reddish eyes, and black eyes. And also red and black eyes with vertical vertical slits, but as well demons who have horizontal slits. Maybe this is why I, next to horizontal and vertical, like with, I think sheep or goat, now I got confused, but I think sheep have these, for me, also very interesting slits, eye pupils. Well, you know what I mean. And as well, I'm always a bit not scared of sheep, but the eyes do something with me, and that is still the remembering of these horrific things. And thank you so much, Jos and Tineke Jessie, for translating. Yes, it is marble, exactly. So to come back, then I was hanging underneath the ceiling. Well, the ceiling, I still felt a bit in the matter, like when I was out of the body and floating against the ceiling. And meanwhile, the angel was still guiding and stroking this umbilical cord. And also to extend it and to let me come. It was also a very peaceful way, because I remember that I was more relaxed, as weird as that may sound. And from that moment on, I started to go through an extreme yellow, bright light. And there were, well, the majority of times, waiting for me 5 angels. And these 5 angels were then picking me up. And picking me up, I mean, as if they were, as if they had a giant, beautiful energy blanket, of which I was lying on, and still that umbilical cord was being stroked and helped extend, and that the traumas from below would not go from that umbilical cord, because otherwise I might leave the body and really die. And as I said, meanwhile, down in that surgical theater where that certain experiment and that near-death experience. By the way, these near-death I cannot pronounce that word any longer. Experiences were deliberately being called up. So I have other examples of which I accidentally had that my heart stopped. I'm not sure if I even can touch upon that, because I see, I'm still all right with the time. So that's this was produced near-death experiences by the programmers, and that they were of course checking my heart and checking everything, and with their high advanced devices and so on, and monitoring as well. And I have a certain max of minutes and seconds that I can be without oxygen in my brain, and that I would not have brain damage or would get into a coma. That never ever happened, fortunately. So the programmers always brought me back in time. I don't think that they ever knew or could see that these angels were also guiding me, that I would not leave the body and would not die. And I will be forever grateful for them. Well, these 5. So I was lying on that beautiful blanket, and it felt, yeah, literally like a blanket of energy. And they flew me even higher up through that yellow, incredible, beautiful, light yellow, bright light. And then they were again whispering to me, and the whisper of an angel sounds almost like music. This is why a lot of people who have experiences with angel, when the angel talks, that it almost feels like that the angel is singing. In my experiences, I had that a lot, and specifically with these 5, and they were all the time singing about my future, and that I was going back to the body, and that I would survive. And then they would show me images of the future, images of a certain man, images of people I would meet, and that I would not all remember them when I would be back, but that would be stored somewhere in my subconscious, and that would help me to want to live and not go into heading into, for example, suicidal behavior, or that I would end up in psychosis. Because a lot of people, by the way, who have basically MKultra originally, they end up getting a schizophrenic or even in psychosis and manic depressions and so on. I never ever had these real symptoms like that. So I am really grateful for, because that was literally put and stored in my mind. These whispers, they all, what I also recalled was that these 5 angels had all specific tone. So they were not all the same voices, they all had their own frequency. And when they spoke to me in that singing language, that I also could see certain colors. And the mouths were not moving. They had the features. Maybe it's nice that I described them. They had the features of a real. They were all female, by the way, these 5 angels. Did they have wings? No, but they were flying with their it's kind of drapery in the energy. But they also told me that they also choose to appear the way my inner child would love to see them, in the way they would be, like with these floating clothings and with this drapery. But they say if I wanted to have them wings, then they would create wings. And they had very gentle faces and expressions, but I did not see their mouths move. But they did talk also with their eyes, like they spoke to me with their expression, and their beautiful, deep, sparkling eyes. The eyes, one can speak with what, that is why eyes are so important. Yes, the eyes, they say the eyes are the mirror of the soul. Well, and then I hit a bit upon also Joseph Roelof, because I'm not sure if I have enough time left to talk about all of this, but I will finish first this experience. Because this was specifically, again, with the near-death experiences, being called up by my programmers in surgical theaters with specific means for them, because there is a reason why they wanted me to have these near-death experiences. They want to find the God codes in me, and they wanted to find the formula with the crystal liquid. That's why that crystal liquid was designed by them, also with the help of aliens, and a lot of them were these insectoids. They are extremely intelligent, and they could steer surgeons from their dimension into the earthly dimension, where they were for example, doing the surgery on me, like avatars. That does exist as well. That steering through which came from alien beings like these insectoids. They are amazing in what they have of knowledge, and also from other species and so on. And I was very impressed with their knowledge. Were they evil? I still am confused about that, because they were so extremely calm, and they had a kind of hypnotic radiance of which you only could, as if they had a certain perfume, they also had a smell, and that smell and perfume made me also very almost in a trance, but not high, because high is different, but certain way of being in a kind of influence of which was felt very, very, very pleasant. That's actually the best expression. So these 5 angels then brought me further up. And by the way, this beautiful energy blanket then solved, and I was just floating with them, and I was in the sparkles as well of which the angels were. And then I was brought to a cathedral of light, and they told me that this was the cathedral of healing, and that I was brought there to recover from what was done in that surgery with specifically with my heart, and to protect me, so that but as well that it was also the purpose that the programmers would never ever found out these God codes. So it had actually a purpose for 2 ways: to protect me and to protect what I call God, the creator. There are so many names for God. If you look up how many names there are for God, there is amazing lot names for that. And some people say there are multiple gods. That's totally fine, because I believe if that is righteous, if that is if it's part of the transparent and very unconditional love, that's the most important thing, and freedom of choice. That is, in my opinion, an example of God or the Creator. And this cathedral looked like like you have a minaret, so the tower of a mosque. And by the way, mosque, Islam, and maybe I insult some people, and that's not what I mean, but I have seen there in these beautiful heaven-like worlds that it was merged. So it was a beautiful mosque-like shape, but totally white and with silver shine. And I also heard prayers, and that sounds maybe ridiculous, but I did hear it. I heard Islamic prayers, and also prayers from a Catholic origin. And I heard Latin prayers, and they were all different. But I could hear them as one choir, which was in total harmony. And this created in me symbols which I was soaked in through from within to without, and it was floating like you have that it was floating like circular, like you have my spinal cord, and then from the crown up, down, and there was this fluent way like this in oval. Sorry, dear flower. So in this oval shape, and then also with the other. And that is this shape, and this moving shape is a very important fundamental principle of the God codes, what you call the God codes of what energy is, and this beautiful creation where I was in. I did see other people, other beings who were in a state of that they were helped in that way in a near-death experience there. Not so many, but a few I saw in the distance around me, lying there in the same position as I was, and I was just floating. And this beautiful space with these prayers, and it was going through me with symbols. And I talked about these scrolls with the angel who's now with me and who initiated me in the giant scroll. And she also let me remember this all as well. So in the flashback, I remembered a lot of things, but she helps me also remember, yeah, to create the wholesome of my memories. And this is so incredible, beautiful what I experienced there. And these 5 angels were still with me, and they were also like floating with their hands, like all the time they were like floating like this, and they would keep on looking at me with their eyes and talking, and while I hear these prayers, and then with every stroke they told me and that they would help me go down to earth again, and that I would be capable of dealing with a lot of hurt. They told me, you will lose still a lot of people, you will lose everything in life. You will lose so much in life that you will wonder if you still want to live. But you will survive, and love will survive. You will survive. That's the only thing what they told me. And I saw these symbols guiding me and floating through me in that beautiful, harmonious way, like an equal balance. It was total balance, total balance. And this type of being in a kind of heaven sphere was so beautiful that when I was back in my body and guided back to my body, by the way, also in these near-death experiences, I did never meet someone I met earlier in a past life, or that I know from this life who I lost, who passed over. So this was a specific cathedral, hospital-like, dimension of where I was brought to. And I say specifically dimension because there are several dimensions. For me, there are types of heavens. There is not simply one heaven. For me, there are several heavens. For example, there is also a heaven where inventions are being created by also angels, but also beings from other dimensions, and also a bit outside of the borders of our galaxy, of which benevolent beings try to influence in a positive way to get inventions also on Earth and on other colonizations to help us further. But they sadly enough had also the experience of that some bad people use that for the bad. And Joseph Roelof talks about that as well in his books, that several inventions were created for the good and were used for the bad. And this is why this heaven has been, sadly, I think it's very sad, also has been closed off for reasons of what has been shown to me was that they were waiting for that humanity would be ready to really deal with seeing that demons exist. Demons do exist, and there are all kinds of demons, and bad energies do exist. And my opinion is, to know that they exist does not mean that I am fearful and that I'm negative. No, I am just in the extreme. I have become more peaceful. I have more at peace with myself. I am more driven and more stronger and a fighter for that this world will say no to evil en masse. So I know that will happen. I have no doubt it will happen. People will stand up. People will say no to evil worldwide. That's what I've seen. And I only believe in that stronger than ever and in a peaceful way, without calling up anything. It's just speaking out individual, I say no to evil. That's it. And this is so strong in me. Jos, if you look in antiquity, there are indeed more gods in the spiritual world. People also talk about more among gods. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like, for example, also Bujari. Also beautiful being, not only Jesus but also Bujari. There are many, and uh, I know of one being I met. This is a sidetrack from the heavens, but it is of course a bit connected to it. I met one of who should have been incarnated on Earth, and it was a man, a male ascendant, and he was one of the masters, and he was not Jesus, but he was prepared to come back, or to come back. He was prepared to live a life on earth and also become an inspirer for peace and for meditation, and did not happen. I have my own ideas about that, but yeah, I'm now 10 years out of the deep state. But I did meet this master, and that he was prepared for that, and I was in an initiation, that he was prepared to ascend on Earth, specifically the Earth frequency, but he was never. It was abandoned, this quest for him. So there is so much to talk about. Also these heavens, and this is why I call it heavens, because in a lot of these heavens, yeah, I'd rather say dimension, because the beings who people see as gods are also maybe masters is a better word, but not to see them as gurus, but as wise beings who have overcome a lot of own hurt and their own shadow side. They are truly enlightened, and they have their own mission and goal to help people, and specifically to educate people of a lot of things are happening in the heavens as well, because of that. More and more people start to realize the demons exist. And I come back to, this is why it's so important to talk openly about that demons are true. It is a reality, because then maybe people start to realize, yes, we do have to figure out how to deal with that and to help the people who are being demonized, or are serving the demons. And if people start to see that and have no longer fear, then the demons cannot enter ever in your space, not in your house. They can never ever influence, can also not influence even if you're being born in the deep state. Because I was filled with fear for, oh, the demons will grab me, or the programmers will grab me back into their programming. I wanted to rectify something. Last Saturday I talked about that from Friday to Saturday, that I hear the helicopter, and it was real, and I still hear it, and I see it in energy. It was above our house, and that I sadly had no witnesses. Well, I spoke only Sunday, the one who could have heard it, because I only saw that person Sunday and could talk about it. And then that person told me, yeah, but I was already wondering, I did hear a helicopter. So, and it was above our house, and I was waking up from it, and I thought, like, what the heck is a helicopter doing above our house, also on that weird time? And then that helicopter also went away. So I was also relieved. So that person who also slept in the house was witness to that, and that suddenly I got acknowledged, and it was for me so great. So Friday to Saturday, my former programmers did an attempt to get me out of the body and into another state and back into the programming. So I was relieved that it was true. I did not doubt, but it was true. So it was a real helicopter, heavy helicopter above the house. That's what I wanted to say. So that's that's the life of Rae Elisabeth. But me, Delvertje, more like in between heaven and earth. I'm sorry, I only see now your comment, Delvertje. If you still want to have it answered, or it was maybe a response to yours, but let me know. I love, by the way, to answer your questions. I also on the drawings I sketched, or if you rewatch this live stream, for example, have questions or like to express something, you can mail me down below. Oh, I still did not rectify. I did. Oh, I thought I did. I have to change that because it's proton.me, huh? Proton.me. So, okay. Yeah. Because otherwise, oh gosh, I should have changed that earlier. But yeah, now I at least saw it. So. Okay, I'm checking Trovo. And I must say, I realized that I do love talking about my experiences, also with heavens and with, well, for me, it was when I was there in that hospital-like cathedral. For me, it was being in God and meeting God, or a visualization of God. But it was for me a reality, but for me it was real. So it was not within my head, it was a reality. I did experience it. And that is for me, then I talk it purely from what I feel. So whatever someone else thinks about what I talk about, it's fine, but I truly feel it is my experiences. It was not a dream, it was real. And that counts for as well as the attack last Friday to Saturday when that helicopter was above my head. So, Delvertje, my question was about where you were in your near-death experience. I think I just explained it. So it was, I call it Cathedral Hospital, and it was a God's temple, a temple of God, of which I heard the Islamic prayers, Catholic prayers, Latin, all in diversity, but I heard and could feel it as one beautiful, harmonious collection of oneness. It belonged together. It was a beautiful choir, but it was a hospital-like, godly atmosphere, which I rather call dimension, because heavens are actually also dimensions. Of course, there. To come back, I want to talk about so much. Oh, I have to make choices because I'm checking the time. Almost 10 to 10. Yeah, Delvertje, I hope it is explained now. What I also recalled was that I specifically felt the ceiling when I was in that surgical theater. I felt the matter of the ceiling, so that I hung underneath that ceiling. For example, what I experienced last Friday to Saturday when that beam wanted to pull me up out of my body, I recognized that was the pulling, and that was the part I also wanted to touch upon tonight with the alien abductions, that it was the same technique of which also grace, but also the alien abductions happen. And it was a different energy. These were not angels, not at all, because I recognized immediately that I was in danger and that I was trying to scream myself towards the room. I tried to float, literally to float towards my dear friend who was in the bedroom next to me, to scream for help, help me wake up or help me get down. And that beam was of a I recognize that beam which can pull you up with also your whole body, by the way. Yeah? Also the matter of the body can also, like literally in Star Trek, where you see these beam, like BB up Scotty. Yeah, maybe people will laugh at that now too, but Star Trek had a lot of truths in it. And I believe that the designer of Star Trek, who wrote these Star Trek stories, was into it and wanted to create for people and humanity a future of traveling through space, meeting other colonizations, for sure cooperating together, and that we learn from each other. I have the feeling that he was in his purity, he was like that. I also hear other stories that he was into it, that he was also a high Freemason. But for me, he truly feels that his meanings were sincere. Tineke Jessie, time is flying again today. Yeah, for sure, Tineke Jessie. And I started the live stream with, I have enough to talk about, but I was a bit I came from celebration mode. As you see, the beautiful flowers here. The present from last Sunday, the party to celebrate my name change, and also that I have no programming left in that I'm whole, so there's no programming anymore. And now I seem to have, really, I'm really also at peace and in quietness I can talk about it, because it is quite a subject, because I only touch upon now the near-death experiences. I will skip to another near-death experiences, and this was when I was with this, I call it beautiful man, but he is also beautiful to me, so he will always be, and I say beautiful because he's beautiful in and out, and very special. So he had to watch me also when I had let me say, how can I say that without disclosing too much who he is. It was in a kind of rehearsal studio, like, or somewhere where you can rehearse, or maybe a film studio. I believe that in the middle, but it was in a giant theater-like studio, which was built for letting people in public in, and he was doing rehearsal. And I was brought there, and also brought there because I wanted to meet him, even though I had only a bit of time in between all the programming and so on, but it was arranged that I could see him. And then I was with a bodyguard, and he guided me in through the side entrance, so the back entrance, so that I would be invisible to everyone else, and that this man was still rehearsing. And then I was suddenly collapsing, and I felt faint, and I just collapsed. And I still remember that the bodyguard was kneeling on the ground, and the other bodyguard, who was always standing then in front of the door outside, he got, of course, also being called, and he was running towards this man I'm talking about. And this man came running down to get to me, and he was in his rehearsal suit and so on. It was beautiful as well, but I was fainted. So and I was lying there, and this bodyguard then put me with my head on his lap, so he was sitting on his knees. And the last thing, because I seemed to be in and out of consciousness, and this is why I still recall how how my beautiful man came running towards me in his beauty. It was so bizarre. I was lying there, fainting, drifting off, and then coming by, and he was there in his total beautiful outfit from rehearsal. So I felt also guilty, by the way, when I was lying there. Then he called an ambulance, and there with the studios, there are always ambulances prepared for, because, film studio and so on. That is very handy to have there also medical team, etc. at hand. So fortunately, I could also invisible through the back entrance being put away. And then I was in the ambulance, and there my heart stopped. And what I do recall before my heart stopped was that the ambulances tried to cut my bra, and that this beautiful man still, that I still heard him mention, like, please, please, please keep her integrity, like, be. He was a bit. He felt like he needed to protect me from. He knew my vulnerability, and yeah, that I tried to flee out of the MKultra and so on. So he was very aware of that the ambulance people would be very careful with me, and that's still what I recall. And next thing, that I was shocked with a defibrillator, and I was brought to the hospital, and it was giant. I remember that I was brought to there, and it was the kind of penthouse level, and it was giant. It was a giant theater where I was brought to, and then this man was then, of course, very very restless and in panic mode, and I was then lying there. On the medical bed, and the people were helping me with hook me to monitors and tubes and so on, and to check on my heart, because they felt like, she has heart problems. And this is, I know, a miracle. They called me Miracle Heart in the programmed world. That was a nickname, Miracle Heart. So then I was lying there, and then there again my heart stopped. And when I was out of the body, I saw these people, the physicians, so very hastily, of course, trying to again bring me back to life. And I was pulled out of my body, and this was another experience than I was just talking about, because this experience was that I was immediately floating to the behind, not to the ceiling, but I was immediately like a little girl standing a few meters, 3 meters. I still know the exact distance. 3 meters is approximately, I believe, how many feet is that? I'm not sure how many feet it is, because I'm now in the thread of the talk, but 3 European meters. And that I was a little girl, and I was standing there watching how these physicians were trying to save me and to keep me back to life with these defibrillators. Next thing was that I was suddenly, from another perspective, very quickly, like a rocket almost, I don't know, it was so quick, and that I was floating through the doors. These were these doors which open up and which then flap back very easily. And that I saw this man, this beautiful man, saw there wandering off and on in the hallway, in panic mode, of course, like, is she going to make it? Is she going to make it? And he still, by the way, did not know that I got another heart arrest. Interesting. A helicopter is now literally, maybe weird. Okay. So that he did not know that my heart stopped again. So I immediately went towards him, and I tried to comfort him, and I was floating there, and suddenly I was pulled back, and that was an incredible force. So I was out, and I wanted to warn him, like, I'm doing okay, and I was even, I guess I was not even aware that I was out of the body. I just saw him there in panic mode, running up and down the hallway, and it was very empty. That's also what I still recall. So it was the penthouse part of that hospital. I believe it was UCLA, or maybe somewhere else, but I'm not sure, but I seem to remember that because I was a couple of times there. And and then suddenly that incredible pull, like a magnet, a force, was throwing me back into the body, and that was that defibrillator again. So I had in the ambulance defibrillator, and in that hospital a defibrillator. So that was twice that I almost went away. And in that experience, besides that I was that little girl who was initially 3 meters out of the body, that I felt in that little girl very safe, very protected. This little girl, by the way, when I was in the flashbacks and reliving this, that behind me, that there were 2 angels watching me and were holding me on my shoulders and watching with me as that girl. And I still remember that I was wearing a beautiful white dress, a very beautiful children's dress, and I had a ribbon in my hair, and that I was watching that bed and these physicians all working to get me back to life, and that these 2 angels were telepathically comforting me and talking to me, and they were again with a kind of a singing voice, but it was not singing, and they were soothing me, and so they were talking to my inner child. And this was a big difference with the earlier described out of the body experience, that this time these angels were comforting me as that little girl, and that was so soft and gentle. And there I was not brought to a recovery cathedral or an atmosphere or a dimension. So the totally different experiences, and both so forever being stored in my heart and my memories. And these are this was also beautiful experience. Besides, of course, that I was trying to ease down the man who was there, very in panic mode. So, Jos, yes, of course. See you in the next live, Jos. And thanks for being here. Delvertje, I was shocked to see the time when I ended my phone calls about my brand new grandson. Oh, wow! You just had that phone call, Delvertje. Well, congratulations. Well, rebirth. So death and rebirth. It does belong together. Wow, what great news! Congratulations. That's fantastic news. Oh, I see already. It's 10:01. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now I have to make decisions. Let me see. I will grab some fresh tea, I think, or not. I still have some. So those were 2 totally separate experiences, as I said, and very, very, so dear to my heart, but at the other hand, very painful, because to come back to these collapses and fainting, that sadly enough, this man, has experienced more times that I collapsed, and that was feared for my heart. And then to come back to what happened to me, I know it did happen. For one, this man was there, so I know that is true as well, because I know we went through a whole journey of going through deprogramming, and then meeting every time the vulnerability of the heart and what the programmers had put in. And that I was also guided by a special team with even anesthesia, a heart specialist, a deprogramming specialist, a whole support group, and a dear friend also. She is no longer amongst us, but I can call her a dear friend. And she also helped me a lot in the deprogramming. And she knew a lot about how, from her own life's experience. The only thing what I can say, she was an actress, beautiful person, and a lot of experience. And she went through a lot of physical experiences as well, and she survived. So there is a lot of miracles do exist. That's also what I hope to show. Miracles do exist. Angels do exist. It is healing can truly be done through miracles. What I call miracles. Maybe it is connected also to the contract as being myself, but I know that what I experienced, I did experience. That's what I try to explain. But maybe the majority of you who watch this or hear that can feel with your heart, with your feeling on feeling level how true experience this was and is for me. Then I know, do I have physical remains of what the programmers called Miracle Heart? By the way, the programmers always smirked at me afterwards when I was in another personality, but I still recall them, that I was in one surgery where they also did that same awful trick, and that they told me literally, like, we carved inside a part of your heart a scarring of, I don't know if it's true, but that they left a smiley there. So that was for me the sign. Every MKultra slave have a certain mark of having been enslaved, and many programmers leave that behind as a sarcastic joke, that even if the MKultra or the Monarch would escape, that she would always be confronted with a scar. And apparently that scarring was put on my heart as a smile. And the word smile was an incredible trigger word, and sarcastically smiling. And if it's true, I'm not. I don't know. I still maybe one time will that these medbeds will be released, or maybe a safer way to look at the heart. All if that can be done in also, of course, an intimate way, but that for sure I would report on you if I would do that one day. And for sure I do want to know. But that is a part which I'm still wondering. I know that miracles happen, but I have not one remain left of all what happened to me in these flashbacks and with the heart. And I say that because I know that what I experienced, and I repeat it again. I know I repeat it often, but I know it did happen because I relived it. I know how a defibrillator feels like. I just know. And that's the physical knowing. It's like also like when you're a mom, when you were a mother, and that you know how it feels to feel life inside your womb and have the physical symptoms of that as well. I all knew these symptoms when I was still being overall the front name Monique, and I was even flabbergasted when I had the first flashbacks of contractions, and that I always thought, like, me in my front life, I even never had a boyfriend really. How is that possible? And I could describe in detail what I felt, and with the physical features and what belongs to becoming pregnant and the whole lot, and also having contractions, and I felt them physically. Can you imagine how weird that is? Like in the beginning years that I had these flashbacks physically, and I was in the front life Monique. Yeah, that is, I know that's, I don't know how to otherwise explain it, like how bizarre it was for me. But because I all felt it, I don't doubt not one bit that it would not be true, because otherwise I would not have felt it so physically and could describe it exactly how it feels like. So it is like I had my own proof because I came from the front life who in her world and opinion had never the experience of even having a boyfriend or intercourse or something. I'm very honest about that because the programmers never allowed me to. So yeah, I hope I could could talk about it a bit that it was clear enough for you all who are listening and watching. I see now it's almost 10 past 10, and I wanted to talk also about the connection to Joseph Roelof, but I think I will do that next time, because I also start to feel a bit fulfilled in my head. And of course, if you have still questions or like to express something about what I shared, I know it's pretty tough subject, but I think it's also interesting subject. Before I will go on in a bit light-hearted mode, one thing I wanted to talk also about these abductions and the near-death experience which I met with the Black Ops, but maybe it is also better to do that next time, because I think this was a nice whole as talking about these near-death experiences. I apologize. You see, I also feel my throat now react. Delveltje, is the chopper still above your house? No, it went away. It was just... No, it did not. It did not stay. So, but I was alerted, of course. It happened only a few times during a live stream. Also, a couple of weeks ago, it happened. I think I even mentioned it. But yeah, it is interesting, interesting times. But yeah, Jos is already said already goodbye for tonight. But he says it right. A demon will always want to take you out of your familiar environment to control you. But if you are open to only the good, that's what demons are afraid of. Yes, and also that it is indeed from within, also all not in fear. I feel even it goes deeper in have no fear of demons or negative energies. No longer fear, because I was, until not so long ago, I was pretty impressed when I felt like there were certain attacks towards me through the demon world and through the energetic world, because these attacks, like with the chopper, with the helicopter I had of last weekend, I never had that experience here in the deprogramming. So I must have been talking too much, I think, or I must have done too many live streams talking about it. And I was, in previous English live stream, pretty open, because I was talking about my presidential and Monarch programming, and also last Saturday. So I know I touch upon a vulnerable subject. Delveltje, yesterday storks were over my house. That was a sign for my grandson. Oh yeah. Oh, it is so... it's so beautiful to that you have shared it with, becoming grandmom. Oh, that's so sweet. There's also celebration. It fits, it fits in today's celebration, and as well what I said earlier. Yeah, death is close to, rebirth, born. And meanwhile, thanks so much, Barry, for Antrovo, all these, all the features there. I start to feel tired, so I even cannot produce the how it's being called, but going over. They were flying over your house. Well, that is a beautiful symbol, eh? And I love storks. I go sometimes at the park where there is always a couple storks, and they had to this year again some young storks. They're so beautiful. I love them. And also swans. Swans and storks are one of my favorite birds, by the way. Well, many others, nightingale as well. So I have a lot of other birds is one of my most favorite animals, by the way, next to dogs and cats. But yeah. Delftje, in my town were 2 stork nests this year. Oh, wow. And they also had by the province put like these giant poles with for the nest to build. I do like that in the Netherlands, that they are so creative in, yeah, in creating these places for the storks. They're beautiful animals, also in the energy symbolism. Delftje, the young ones went away to the south. Yeah, the south, the warm south. I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, I will go in this last 15 minutes. Yeah, just a bit talking with you all. And again, I love it if you have questions. Always welcome to have questions, of course. And well, if there are questions, maybe that's also a good sign. So next time, and also coming Saturday, I will touch upon the subject. What is my connection to Joseph Roelof? I already said a few things in the last Saturday live, but I can add some more. And then let's see. And next Tuesday, I will then talk in English about Joseph Roelof. Delftje, one nest is on the church and the other is in a tree. Yeah, church, they look for, well, the energy-wise, churches have often very peaceful, the meridians as well as ley lines and so on. But you know that the churches are built on, the majority of churches are built on beautiful spots, qua energy level. So yeah. So this was me talking about my many near-death experiences, and I say that with a smile, pure because of the meeting with these angels. And yeah, I've experienced beautiful things with them and got beautiful messages from them as well. And I cannot share everything because that's private. But yeah. So I will head for closure. And yeah, I do hope to see you, of course, all next time. And let's see if I still have subjects enough. Until now, I'm amazed as well that I have still subjects to talk about. So, yeah. And before I forget, coming Thursday, I will notify coming tomorrow, Wednesday. So I feel a lot with going live Thursday from 11 o'clock in Dutch. And then I will see if people like that, want to join. And it will be in Dutch spoken, a bit in a light-hearted way. And I have no clue what I will talk about. I have no clue what I will do. But I started to miss the daytime live stream, so I will go Thursday from 11 o'clock. I will go live, but I will clarify if it will go through tomorrow afternoon. So that you will be, if I say tomorrow I will go live Thursday, then I will go live Thursday. Because I find it still, yeah, it was a bit bizarre week. So that you know then. Yeah, thank you so much, Delvetje and Tineke Jessie, and everyone who joined me here. Thanks so much. And also for my many Dutch friends. Thank you so much for being here. And for everyone who is listening and not active in the chat. I appreciate you too. And everyone, please, I always say it one time in my live stream. If you like to subscribe, share, like, comment, and specifically on my YouTube channels, like, push the like buttons. Yeah, that's amazing. That would be amazing. And let me see on Trovo. Thank you everyone for listening, watching on Trovo as well. Welcome on my channel. And thanks so much again, Barry Hendelson as well, for being here. And on Trovo, you can rate. Yeah, well, I love to start a raid on Trovo. Yeah, sure. You can rate, huh? Oh, they also have interest in these topics. Okay. So everyone on Twitch, if you like to come to Trovo or you have an account on Trovo, then you can experience a raid on Trovo. Yeah, that would be great, Barry. Great idea. And then I can also focus on Trovo instead of Twitch. So, dear everyone, yeah, I am amazed by how I could talk about the subject of tonight, because it was a bit mixed. I loved the subject and talking about it, and at the same time, it is a complex subject, and my life was already so extreme rare. Yeah, that's the least what I can say, and I can laugh at it. But I met and still meet wonderful people. Also last Sunday when I had my celebration with tiny group, but there are really beautiful things happening. It is amazing. So you will start the raid then, Barry? So I will wait then, because then I will not close off the live stream. Otherwise I will be offline. And everyone on Twitch and on Facebook and also on Indevini, Infodelen, Video News, thank you for watching. And on YouTube, of course. Delvetje, I love your flowers. Yeah, they were a present from dear people. Yeah, it's really great what is happening. I'm really stepping into the world, I feel. Oh, you tried 3 now. Okay, which one should I try, Barry? Is that one you mentioned? Is that Karine? Or do you mean that they are offline? I will check. Okay. Yeah, of course. I will rate. That's no problem. But I thought you could do that as well. But I'm not focused on Twitch now any longer to rate. I will do that next time, because I love Twitch as well. So they are online. Okay, I will do the Karine, Barry. Thanks. Thanks for this tip, huh? Gladiola for glory. Yeah, they're one of my favorite flowers. So I love them. You should see them. They are so big. It's a giant bouquet, really. I felt really like a birthday. Well, everyone, see you next time, and I will now focus on the raid. Okay, I will now raid Karine. Okay. The first time I raid on Trovo. So dear everyone, bye bye. Oh. Ah. Heal, 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 heal. Oh, I see. No, huh? I also cannot raid. Okay. It doesn't accept the raid. And I literally copied the name. No matches. So and Delvetje, if you still can hear me, enjoy your grandson. Okay. Okay, no username matching that name. That's weird. All right. Okay. It's not working. Tell you thanks again. I hope I see him tomorrow. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So, well, then I will let go. Okay. I will let go for now. That is what I got. No such username. Yeah, alright. Then, yeah. Well, thanks for the tip again, Barry. And then I will, then I will let go and leave it. Okay, dear people. I think I also am longing for my bed in a bed, my bed in a bit, and I will enjoy this live stream again. I'm still not gone from from live stream, and see you all Saturday. And Barry again, thanks, and everyone follow Barry also on Trovo if you can, if you have an account there, Barry Henderson, and otherwise also on Twitch of course, and on other channels. So, dear people, see you next time. Yeah, hey, Indu. Yeah, everyone, thank you so much. Bye, everyone. See you soon. Alrighty. Ciao.